Hello my beautiful hammerheads and welcome back to Black Library Reviews Part 26, Beasts, a Cado Ezechiar short story by John French. So this is the first AOS story written by John French, and it is not a full head dive into the water. No, it's just, oh no man, I just tip my toes into the water and see what it feels like. And this is the feeling of this story. So Cado, the Hollow King, is a vampire, and this is the first story in which he appears. So I'm kinda torn with this one. I like Cado's character. There is mystery in there is some intrigue, so there is potential for so much more. And we already know that there is a novel coming, and I'm so happy. I read this story once as it was released, but the first time I wasn't into it as much as I'm now. I read it again today because I wanted to do this review, and I just realized what I missed the first time I read this short story. And it's a short story, so it's a fast read. There are basically two timelines in this short story. One is Cado wakes up from unconsciousness. He's in a cave and he does not know where he came from, what has happened, and what's he doing there. The other short story is a little bit earlier in how he got to the small village town thing, and how he's looking for someone, something, and how he is traveling the lands of the mortal realms, because of course he needs the information, so he works for a certain group of people. And it's not one specific group, I just mean people with money, people with information, and so on. This is kinda interesting because in this timeline it jumps back and forth 2 times. So because it's a short story, there isn't much time to tell something like that. There is one guy who offers him a job, and the job is he has to go into this cave because there is something his boss wants. Cado declines, and he's just, I know you're the Hollow King. And Cado is just like, how does he know? Hollow King, an old name, one left behind on a long road, a name that only someone who knew him in the past would know. Not this mortal though. This is so good. And I totally know why I disliked this story the first time I read it, because I was tired, I was in bed, and I just fell asleep reading this, so my memories were kinda hazy. Now fully awake, this is a okay story. As I've said, there is potential for much more character development. And yes, of course, it's a short story. There isn't much time for character development. But we have a second short story, and this might be the other thing why I'm seeing this first Cado story with different eyes, because I know there is more to come. So my initial impression is diluted with knowledge. What is very interesting is he has a silver ring. And I guess there is a spirit trapped in this ring, because whenever he wants, there is someone talking to him. So I don't know, I have some Malice Darkblade flashbacks or Melaneth Witchblade from the new Godric series, with the main character talking to someone only she can talk to. So I love this. Is this worth for you? With this one, if you like vampires, yes. If you like main characters who are talking to incorporeal people. Yes. So basically, if you like, as I've said, Marlowe Starkblade and Melaneth Witchblade, this one is for you. For the rest, if you have nothing else to read, it's a good short read. It's enjoyable. It's nothing too fancy. And from my scale from burn it to devour it, I say read it if you have nothing else. Read it if you have only a few minutes and you like vampires. So I give this short story a 7 out of 10. It is enjoyable and I want that Cado Ezechiar novel. And of course the model. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Did I miss something you wanted to hear? Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. I am keen to know what you have to say. For the rest, stay after my outro and I will narrate the sample for you. Have a great day, my friend. Stay fantastic. Stay hydrated. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Beasts. The Road of the Hollow King. Written by John French. Read by Beard Almighty. Cado came to in darkness. Sensation tingled in his fingers and up his limbs. Red hunger screamed from the back of his thoughts and blended with rage. He forced thought and instinct to silence and lay still. He did not know where he was or what was close. Moving before understanding was a mistake. Wait and remember. That was what he needed to do. His instincts snarled against the leash of his will. He let them. He had outlived demigods and empires by learning the lessons of being both hunter and prey. And at this moment, he was prey. He could feel it. How this had come about, that was the question. He had gone to one of the sacred streams up in the mountains above Glimmerheart. It had been an uneventful journey. The priests had frowned over burned ruins and pulled broken statues from the streams. They had found the body of one of the guardians of the high water pinned to the rocks, its feet dangling in the ice-crusted flow. It must have been there for decades. The snow and cold had turned the flesh and skin to leather. There had been debate about how to treat the boy. It had lasted several hours. Cado and the other guards had watched the nearby crags. Nothing had come. In the end, the worthiest had decided to take the bones back to Glimmerheart. Cado had waited in silence. He had come on the expedition because the shapeshifters he had killed in Glimmerheart 3 weeks past had been priests of the sacred waters. He had hoped there would be signs in the snow melt that would lead him to the rest of their nest. The spawn of the burning hand were still there. He was sure, lurking in the skin of the city. But he had found nothing amongst the water channels and ice. Time was running out. The trail of the burning hand had led to Glimmerheart, but had ended with 3 of the sorcerer's disciples dead in the snow and no threats to follow. He had concealed his kills, milked their corpses of blood, and let the persona of a vagabond sellsword settle over him. He had taken work, in part to allay suspicions, in part to cover his hunt for the servants of the dark gods in Glimmerheart. That shroud was becoming thin. Word and rumors spread. They always did. Things that were nothing to do with him were beginning to accrete into stories. He had heard them told with grim laughter in the inns. There were things taking people on the roads. The night was eating people who walked alone and leaving chewed bones. Half a dozen souls vanished trying to open the mines lower down the mountain. He had noticed a few people casting looks his way, and paymasters eyeing him carefully. He had to find the trail of his prey and move on before those looks became swords. Joining the expedition up the headwaters had been one of his last options. That was Beasts, The Road of the Hollow King, written by John French, read by Beard Almighty.